I was the girl who would look at others, seeing them manifest the money, the love, the relationship, the trips, the clothes out of thin air, but I could never do the same until I did. Today, I'm sharing the full breakdown of how to manifest your dream life fast as a beginner, because when I manifested one thing, I started to manifest multiple things and I could not stop. Plus, to show you that manifestation will literally work for anybody, these are the extremes of what I manifested when I wasn't even close to manifesting them. I manifested speaking on TEDx stage twice when I was the shyest person in the room. I manifested becoming a best-selling author at the age of 20 when I hated reading books. I manifested randomly meeting the love of my life, now my fiance, when I was heartbroken and I was so done and over with men. I manifested a six-figure business when earlier that year I made $0 in January. Finally, I manifested a luxury apartment in Florida when I was living at my dad's house in Iowa for free. But I know what you might be thinking. Does manifestation actually work? Or is it just this like woo-woo thing people talk about on social media that's gonna leave me even more frustrated than before? Short answer, no, it's not just this woo-woo strategy, it actually works. Long answer is what I'm gonna cover in today's video, the what, the why, and the how when it comes to manifestation. Because manifestation has worked so well for me, I believe everyone deserves to learn why manifestation works and how it works. So A, you actually believe in the power of manifesting, because let me tell you, there's been so many videos online that show you what to do when it comes to manifesting, but it never tells you why it works and how it works. And then B, you don't have to overwork yourself every single day to get what you want. You can actually get it a lot simpler and easier. This was a highly requested video, so I'm breaking these down into video chapters, once again going in depth and detail, because this is a full guide on how to manifest your dream life as a beginner. So let's get into chapter 1. What manifestation is and what it's not. The textbook definition of manifestation is basically turning your desires into reality through your thoughts, beliefs, and your actions. So this basically means you can get whatever it is that you want through your identity, and your identity is made up of thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and actions. Now here's where manifestation gets really interesting, because a lot of people have the belief that they're really bad at manifesting, or they can't manifest a desire, but in reality, you're actually manifesting all the time, whether you think you are or you're not, even if you're manifesting things that you don't actually want. So for an example, if you want to make money a lot easier, but you have the belief that you have to work more hours, you have to work harder to make more money, that's what you're actually manifesting. You're manifesting based on the belief you have, not the desire that you want, because your belief is what actually manifests. Now here in a little bit, I'm going to show you how to actually shift your beliefs to match the manifestation, the desire that you actually want, because in reality, the only gap between what you want and where you're at now is the belief that's stopping you. But before I do that, I want to quickly go through what manifestation is not, so that way you can really debunk the myths and everything else that you've heard online about manifestation, so that way you actually believe in it a lot more. Number one, it's not just wishful thinking and it's not just positive thinking. You actually have to have a lot of intention behind what it is that you're manifesting. So if you've seen on social media or people have been telling you, you can just sit around telling yourself, I'm a millionaire and $1 million are gonna fall from the sky. That's not actually how manifestation works. Number two, manifestation is not just instant results. Manifestation actually requires a lot of patience, a lot of consistency, and time before you master it. But let me tell you, once you master it, you can actually attract what you want a lot quicker and faster to you. But in the beginning, it's not just instant results when you don't really know how to manifest correctly. Lastly, manifestation is not just about being lazy. This is not like the lazy way out when it comes to life. I feel like it's like the simple and the easier way out. But once again, like what I said earlier, manifestation, it requires aligned, intentional action. So if you're just hoping that you're going to get six-pack abs without taking any action, you're going to left really frustrated, because that's not how it works. So this leads me right into chapter 2. how manifestation works and why it works really, really well. So here in a little bit, I'm actually going to draw out 2 diagrams so that way you can visually see how manifestation works. But before I do that, I actually want to talk about Newtonian physics and quantum physics because these are the 2 physical realities we live in. And for me, when I learned about this specific concept, it actually made me manifest so many things faster into my reality because I actually understood it. So this is where it gets a little bit nerdy, but I promise I'm going to explain it in the most simplest and easiest terms for you to really absorb and understand. So first off, we have Newtonian physics. Now this is the reality we actually live in, the Newtonian world. This is where everything in our world is made up of solids and what we can experience with our 5 senses, what we can smell, what we can touch, what we can taste, what we can hear, and what we can smell. It's what we can only perceive with our 5 senses. And remember that it's what we can only perceive with our 5 senses. So Newtonian physics is in the 3D. It's solid. It's what we can see. Therefore, it's all about action. And it really follows the rule of cause and effect. An input results in an output. So if we continue with the example of making money, living in the Newtonian world, we have developed the belief that the more hours we work, the more money we make. The more effort in, the reward of money is the output. Now here in a minute, I'm going to draw out how this actually looks like in the Newtonian world, but let's first talk about quantum physics. Now quantum physics is basically the opposite. In the quantum world, in the quantum reality, everything is made out of energy, and this is where there are an unlimited amount of probabilities that exist beyond space and time. Once again, this is beyond our 5 senses. We can't physically see it. In quantum reality, the way that we receive things is through the concept of law of attraction, which is basically like attracts like. What we think about, what we believe, and the emotions we have is the desire and the reality we actually experience. So in this reality, the weight of getting what you want isn't just on your shoulders. You're actually getting the help from the quantum field. And this is why manifesting from the quantum field and this entire strategy of manifestation works really well, because we're not focused from manifesting in the solid world. Now I want to show you visually how these 2 worlds work, because if you're like me, I'm a visual girly. If I can see it, I can actually believe it. So let's first draw out the diagram for Newtonian physics. Once again, this is the world that we live in. It's all 3D. So how we actually receive things in this world is, and this is us, and we take action in order to get a specific result. So let's just continue with the example of making more money. Let's say the result that you want to get and the goal that you're trying to get to is $100,000. Now, based on Newtonian physics and society, you're probably going to be working an average 9-to-5 job, hoping that you're going to make $100,000. But if we actually break down the numbers, it doesn't necessarily allow us to reach $100,000 very easily. So let's say, for an example, average people, they're working, give or take, 8 hours a day, and maybe they're getting paid $15 an hour. If you take 8 times 15, that gives you $120 that you're making every single day. Now, if you take 120 and times it by 5, you're working 5 days a week, you make $600. Now, if you take 600 over here and you multiply that, there's 0 over there, and you multiply that by 52 weeks in a year, you're making around $31,200. Now, of course, that does not match $100,000. But in Newtonian physics, you have the cause and effect rule. Input in equals output, reward, money. So we believe the more hours we work, the more money we get. So if we increase this, and let's say maybe now we're working 12 hours, and now instead of making $15, we're making $20, that equals $240, a little bit more than what we were making before. And then if we do 240 times 5, that equals $1,200. Now, of course, if we take 1,200 and we take it times 52, we are making $62,400 a year. Now, at this point, we're working 12-hour days. We are exhausted, and we reach a cap in how much money we can make, and that is not even close to $100,000. So what ends up happening is we start to get frustrated. We start to believe that working more equals more money. And we start to chase, not attract. So visually, this is how Newtonian physics works, and this is how we basically quote unquote manifest and get what we want in the Newtonian world. So now let's go over quantum physics. How do we actually attract? How do we manifest in the quantum world? So this is us over here, and in quantum physics, instead of us taking action, what we're actually doing is sending out vibrational frequency waves and energy that looks like this. And this is basically going to the outcome and the desire that we want. Now, the energetic frequency waves that we're sending out is based on our beliefs, thoughts, and our emotions. And all of this basically makes up our identity. Now, every single day, depending on our identity, our beliefs, our thoughts, our emotions, if we have a high frequency, we're sending out something to the universe that attracts high vibrational things like money, love, success. And from that, we are actually attracting what it is that we want. And this is an example of a vibrational energetic chart. So once again, the higher you vibrate, the happier you feel, the more love, the more hopeful, the more that you're going to attract that matches that very specific thing. So once again, if our goal is to make $100,000, once again, if I draw out over here in the Newtonian world, once again, it was all about action and result. Now, in the quantum world, we're not just taking action, we are creating an identity that matches this $100,000 desire. Now, of course, we don't live in quantum reality. We don't live in quantum physics. So now when we take action, we're actually going to get the result a lot faster because it's already aligned to the outcome that we want. So in quantum physics, we are not operating from our 3D, we are operating from 5D. And these two examples are the very reason why we can work so hard in the physical world, but we still don't get what we want. And then we see somebody else who is always in good energy. They're hopeful, they're lucky, they're delusional, and they get things in an instant because they're not operating from Newtonian physics, they're operating from quantum physics. So now that we fully understand why manifestation works and how it works, let's get into chapter 3. I know you've been patiently waiting for this. So this is my 5-step method on how to manifest. And in chapter 4, I'm actually going to show you an example of how I manifested my first 6 figures with this 5-step method. But let's first go through it so that way you know exactly what to do every single day to manifest everything into your life a lot faster. So step number 1, set a clear desire and intention for what you actually want. Since we're manifesting from the quantum world, we need to be so clear when we're sending out energetic frequencies to the universe, so that way we're not confusing it in what it is that we actually want. Because once again, we're not speaking to the universe. Quantum physics, it reacts based on our energetic vibrational frequency. So let's continue with the example of money. If you just tell yourself that you want to make more money, even if you just tell yourself that you want to be a millionaire, that is not specific enough, and the quantum field is very confused. So instead of just saying you want to make more money, you want to get very clear and specific and tell yourself, I want to make $100,000 this year with my own online business. I only want to be working 5 hours a day, and how I want to get paid is just through my knowledge. I don't have to work harder in order for me to make money. All I want to do is share my lifestyle, share my lessons, knowledge on social media, and people are willing to pay me thousands of dollars to speak to me. I really want to coach people. I want to consult with people. Do you see the difference? You can actually vividly imagine and visualize how your day is going to look like with the desire that you have. So that is the goal. If you can't imagine it in your mind, if you can't visually see it like you are in a movie, it's not clear and it's not specific enough. After you set your intention, step number 2 is defining your identity to match your desire. And once again, your identity is made up with your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and your actions. So the best way to do this is to take a piece of paper and take a pen and start to write down what beliefs would I have if I was already making $100,000 a year? What would I be thinking about during the day if I was making this money? How would I be reacting and not reacting to certain situations? What emotions would I have? What actions would I be doing throughout the day? And we're going to be talking about actions in step 4 of this method, a little bit more in depth and detail. But once again, you want to get so clear and so specific so your old identity and your old personality is no longer there. Because remember what I said in the beginning of this video, the only reason why you don't have your desire is because of your beliefs. It is in the way. So in order for you to get your desire, you have to create a new set of beliefs, which is your identity. Step number 3, daily meditation visualization. This is where you're going to quiet your mind and you are going to visualize and see yourself in this new identity, in this new reality of your manifestation. The cool part about this is your mind does not know the difference between something that's real versus vividly imagined. Therefore, the more times that you visualize yourself in this new reality, when you wake up from your manifestation, your body is going to feel like you have already done it before. Therefore, there is going to be literally zero resistance throughout the day of you being and acting like your new identity because you've already seen yourself do it multiple times before. And I broke down more of how to reprogram your subconscious mind in this specific video. So I'm going to link it at the end of this video so that way you can watch it. But when you meditate and when you visualize, you can see it. So that way throughout the day, you can actually be it. And I do this every single morning, at least for 10 minutes. So that way throughout the day, when I'm taking action, I'm really operating from my new identity and not my old one. Step number 4, take aligned action through maintenance energy. Once again, we don't necessarily live in the quantum world. We still live in a physical world. Therefore, we still need to take action in order for us to get what we want. Because remember, in the beginning of this video, manifestation is not about being lazy and sitting around doing nothing all day. You want to think about if you actually had $1 million business, you wouldn't just be laying around. You would be making sure you're marketing. You'd be making sure you're selling. You'd be making sure you're working on different creatives and projects. You would be doing certain things in order to maintain what it is that you already want. Now, maintenance energy, I feel like I made it up. Let me know if you've ever heard about this in the comments. But I start to think about how can I be this identity without feeling like a completely different person and having so much resistance throughout the day. Now, maintenance energy, it's kind of like a nonchalant energy of like, oh yeah, I already have it, therefore I'm maintaining it. So if you already had 6-pack abs, you would be making sure that you're working out every single day. You'd be making sure you're eating well, you're nourishing your body. Therefore, it's not like this new big thing that you're doing. It's something that's already normalized. And that's actually a key thing when it comes to manifestation. The more that you can normalize it, the easier it is from the quantum field for you to actually attract it into your reality, because once again, your energetic frequency is matching the same frequency of the desire that you're calling in. So take aligned action. Once again, this is not forced action. This is not overworking yourself, but it's following the feeling of excitement, of joy, and that like, oh my gosh, I actually do want to work to get what it is that I want. Step number 5, detach from your reality. Looking for your desire in the 3D defeats the entire purpose of manifestation, because we are not manifesting from the Newtonian world of what we can see. We are manifesting from the quantum world, therefore we cannot see it yet. So although we can't see it, this is something that we can feel. Now, a lot of the times people will ask me, well, how do I know manifestation is working if I can't see any like proof in my current reality? Now, one indicator that you can tell if your manifestation is working or if you're really close to it is based on your emotions, how you're feeling. If like your new identity, you really start to feel more excited, more hopeful, more happy, almost in a state of like knowing. You have this intuition of like, oh yeah, I just know it's mine, even though I don't see it yet. That's the only indicator you need that the manifestation is actually working. feeling, because once again, the physical world, it's really heavy, it's dense, therefore it takes time for the manifestation to materialize in the Newtonian world. But that's a check. You just want to check, are you feeling better? And if you are, that's the only thing that you need to see that your manifestation is actually coming closer to you. And also, when it comes to detaching from your reality, manifestation is all about knowing what you want is already yours. So for an example, if you just went to the grocery store and you bought tomatoes and you put it in the fridge, you're not constantly checking your fridge to see if you have tomatoes. You just know it's already there. So that level of like almost a delusion, but that level of certainty is what you actually want in order for you to manifest your dream life very, very quickly. Now, let me show you how I put this 5-step method into action of how I manifested my first 6 figures. So chapter 4, this is the example of what I did to manifest my first 6 figures and beyond. And once again, this was back in 2020. Earlier that year in January, February, I made $0. And then that same year in October, I made $50,000 in 1 month, and then I scaled past 6 figures. So step number 1, set a clear intention, desire of what you actually want. Now, I did my best to try and search in some of my old journals to find the specific piece of paper where I wrote this out, but these are the only things I have found. But you can even see in this, I was really specific in making 6 figures. I want to do it by helping other people with branding, marketing on social media. But if I were to rewrite this out, it would look something like this. I'm going to read this to you, but I would say something like, I'm so grateful that I'm a 6-figure earner. I own an online business where I post content on social media every day talking about skills, lessons, experiences, and knowledge. People reach out to me every day asking how they can work with me to build their online presence and brand. They buy my 6-month coaching program for $3,000, also buy the mini courses I have to offer. I only work a few hours every single day, and it's super easy for me to make money. I've learned how to combine the lifestyle with my business, so work does not even feel like work. You can see how specific it is. Once again, you want to set an intention where if you were to close your eyes and visualize it, you can see it in detail. So step number 2 is defining, once again, the identity. These are the thoughts, these are the emotions, the actions, and the beliefs. So I created this diagram for all of you because once again, I couldn't find the original in any of like my old journals because this was almost like 5 years ago. But for an example, these are some of the thoughts that I would write down and I would actually start to think about if I want to make 6 figures. I'm so creative posting online. It's such a breeze. People love the insights I have to share. Working is so much fun. I get excited every single morning. Life is so beautiful. You guys get the point. When it comes to beliefs, I would have beliefs like, I know every single time I post, I make a sale. Because right now, if you think that you need to post 1,000,000 times in order for you to make 1 sale, that's the belief that you want to get rid of. The belief that you want to replace it with is, once again, every single time I post on social media, I make a sale. Making money is the easiest thing in the world. The more I am grateful, the more I earn. And then some actions. Working out every single morning, feeding myself whole foods, sleeping 8 hours every single night, and then down here selling my products every single day. Innovation, investing into my knowledge. And you can see these actions are not just business actions. There are still actions based on the lifestyle that I want. Because once again, when you're manifesting a specific desire, you're not just manifesting that one thing, you're manifesting you. You're manifesting a new identity. You're manifesting a new lifestyle. So that's why I wrote down all of these actions, because once again, if I did have the freedom, the time, if I did have a business, I would be putting more time and effort into me and how I feel every single day and morning. Now, step 3, 4, and 5, I'm gonna breeze through because I can't really show you how I did this, but step number 3, meditation, visualization. These are the 2 YouTube videos I actually still listen to, sometimes every single morning when it comes to manifesting, when it comes to visualizing my dream life. But back then, I would wake up at least like 30 minutes or an hour earlier every single day before I got to work, had to go do whatever it is that I needed to do, because I had to make sure that I did not skip a day. So for me now, once again, like what I said earlier, I try to visualize, meditate for at least 10 minutes a day. It's that important. If you don't have time in the morning, wake up earlier because you need to do this step. And then once again, after I meditated, I had to make sure throughout the day I was still taking aligned action. So step number 4, take aligned action through a maintenance energy. So this is an example of how my daily routine looked like. As you can see, there's still a lot of space for me. It's not like I was working straight for like 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, every single morning for at least 2 to 3 hours. I would make time for myself. I would do some deep work from like 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I would take like an hour break. Back then I would do sales calls. I would maybe post again. And for the rest of the evening, I would just either read, I would learn, I would relax, chill, do whatever it is that I wanted to do. But once again, all day, I wasn't just sitting around doing absolutely nothing. I was still taking aligned action that felt really, really good in order for me to attract that 6-figure income. Lastly, step number 5, detach from my reality. I was not waiting for my manifestation in the 3D. That is one of the biggest things I really want you to take away is if you really want to embody this manifestation method, strategy, and I honestly don't even call it a strategy, I call it a lifestyle. You do not want to be searching in your 3D to figure out where it's at because once again, you cannot see it. One thing that I did was I detached, but even if I saw a small ounce of proof, maybe I saw someone reach out to me, potential lead, I saw more likes on a post, more views, I would use that as my unfolding and run with it. I'm like, okay, I see this as a small amount of proof, therefore I know this manifestation is working for me. I also spend a lot of time being grateful for what I already had because when it comes to manifesting, the more grateful you are, the more abundance that you see already in your life, the more you're going to attract because once again, gratitude that vibrates in a very high frequency and energy when it comes to once again communicating with the quantum field. So a quick recap because I know we covered a lot and this video was a lot longer than what I hoped for, but these are the very, very, very most important things I want you to take away from this video so that way you can actually manifest your dream life a lot faster. Manifestation is not wishful thinking. Manifestation is an approach where you are creating your dream life and reality through your identity, and your identity is made up through your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, and your actions. Number 2, we live in a Newtonian world where everything is solid. We follow the rule, cause and effect, and we experience everything from our 5 senses. But in order to manifest, we have to tap into the quantum field, the quantum reality, and we do this by energy. And how we get things is through law of attraction. What we think about is what we get. In order for us to get it, we have to make sure we are vibrating in that same frequency. And then the 5-step method to manifest whatever we want. Step 1, set a clear intention and desire. Step 2, define the identity that matches the desire. Step 3, daily meditation, visualization. Step 4, taking aligned action from a maintenance energy. And then step 5, detach from your reality. I love you so much. Let me know in the comments what it is that you are manifesting. And if you have not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe because on my channel, I share honestly every single thing that I have learned to do a complete 360 in my life to live a life that's so unforgettable and honestly even better than my dreams. Plus, if you haven't watched this video on how to reprogram your subconscious mind, make sure to watch it right here. Until next time, make sure that you stay unforgettable.